Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
You're listening to the Sisters in Loss podcast, a faith-based podcast that spotlights Black women who replace silence with storytelling around pregnancy and infant loss and infertility. Black women experience miscarriage and stillbirth 4 to 5 times more likely than white women, according to the NIH and CDC. Whether you've experienced a miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, are trying to conceive, or have an infertility diagnosis, you will learn about resources and strategies to heal, gain clarity, peace, hope, and find an empowering path forward after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. McAfee, and you will hear me interview sisters in loss who have healed from such a painful and traumatic experience by sharing their testimonies and stories to inspire and help others turn their pain into their purpose. Now let's get started. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'd like to begin with you introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, well, my name is LaQuasha Jarvis. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I just recently launched my Doula business, and the name is Sky's the Limit, Birth Services. So I'm just working on that, and yeah.
Awesome. Love doulas. So, but you have a story, obviously, for your journey to becoming a mother. So share with us, take us back on that journey and share with us your journey to motherhood.
Woo! Well, the journey to motherhood, honestly, it was not easy. I had my first child when I was 19, 20. 5 months later, 5 months postpartum, I got pregnant again. So to my surprise, I was extremely terrified. Ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. That's my angel. Her name is Sky Jarvis. Unfortunately, she passed at 37 weeks. After that, I did go on to have 3 more rainbow babies. So yeah, I have 5 beautiful little ones.
Well, share more about your daughter. How did she pass at 37 weeks? When did you find out? How was that whole process? Because I know it was devastating.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just getting to a place where I can breathe through it. So her story, in October of 2014, it was a Thursday, I went to the hospital for decreased movement. Went to the hospital for decreased movement. They assured me that everything was fine. I do remember the nurse's words. She said, well, she's not as reactive as she should be, but it's okay for how far along you are. That's normal. So I was sent home. Then come Sunday, 3 days later, I called the on-call doctor and I'm like, my husband just made breakfast. Baby girl usually starts moving after I eat. However, I'm not feeling any movements. I don't want to freak out because I was just there on Thursday and they sent me home. They told me, everything was okay. So the doctor that was on call, she was like, well, just come in, just to be on the safe side. Let's just give it a check. So I end up going to the hospital, being hooked up to the machines and doing the ultrasound. And then unfortunately, my doctor came back with tears in her eyes. And she was like, I'm so sorry that there's no heartbeat. I did not understand. It took a minute for me to register. The first few questions, I'm like, well, are y'all going to take me back for a C-section? Can I give her my heart? Like, I'm not understanding what you were telling me right now. So it took a minute to finally click that this is it. My little girl is gone.
Wow. So what happened next? Did they proceed to induce you? Did you all wait? How did that process work?
So immediately, I hated the whole process because immediately it was, well, let's get you to another room. You know, I don't want to do a C-section because unfortunately she is already gone and we only do C-sections in case of an emergency. So we will start the process with induction. I was induced with my son before. So she was like, well, it's going to be the same, pretty much the same steps. So they gave me the Cervidil. We went through the steps of induction. They came asking me several questions before I can even process, you know, what was happening. Do you want to have a funeral? Do you want to do cremation? Do you want to hold her? Do you want us to take her immediately out the room? And I'm just like, well, wait a minute. Like, I haven't even had time to process exactly what you're telling me. Like, this is my life here that we're talking about. So it was extremely traumatic. It was very traumatic.
Yeah. So what did you all decide to do? Did you take a moment to kind of like process it and then went back into, okay, let's go ahead and actually have this baby? How was that process? Because I think that what people don't realize is that when you are giving birth in the second or third trimester, that you still have to give birth, even though the baby is gone. And compared to the joy that you experience on the other side of actually seeing a live baby come out, when you know the baby's going to pass away or the baby has already passed away, it's hard for your mind and your body to connect. And many times you have to trick yourself in order for your body to open up, to dilate, to labor, because your body doesn't want to do it. Your mind doesn't want to do it because you know what the outcome is going to be. So how was your process? Because I know as traumatic as it was, you actually still had to go through that.
Yeah. So they started my induction. They were telling me, well, do you want to do the epidural? We advise that you do the epidural. And I'm like, no, I want to just go through it. Let me go through it because I know that after this is the last that I feel my child. So I opted for completely natural. I was able to labor how I wanted it. I was surrounded by so many loved ones. The pastor even came, up there and prayed for me. She came out at 12:18 a.m. the next day, that Monday morning. It was a full birth. Like, I went through, getting the stitches, my milk coming in and getting angry at my husband because I'm like, jumping out the bed. I don't have no baby to feed. My boobs are hurting. Like, it was, yeah.
Yeah. So what did you do after then? So you had her, were you able to hold her a little bit?
I was.
And then that they come back in to talk about what they want to do with her, like if you wanted the funeral home to come or what have you. What was the decisions that you all ended up making?
Okay. So like I said, immediately when they was telling me everything that was going on, I was faced with, Mom, I know this is hard, but we need to know what to do. Do you want to have a funeral? Do you want to do cremation? I opted to do a funeral for my own personal reasons. I opted to do a funeral. I did not give them an answer on if I wanted to hold her or not. My mom kind of stepped in and led the way because I did not know how I was going to feel in that moment. But when that moment came, I did not let them take my baby from the room. The entire time that I was in the hospital, my daughter was right there on my chest. I slept with her the entire 3 days that we were there. I slept with her the entire 3 days on my chest the whole time we was there. My mom, my grandmother, my husband, we all got to just love on her and, take in the moment. It was very hard. And I remember my mom telling me, I know you're not ready, but it may be time for us to go ahead and let her go, because at that moment, her body has started to actually deteriorate. And I think that's a thing, a lot of people don't talk about. When she came out, her body wasn't deteriorated because they said that she hasn't been gone for long. So I'm going to assume that she probably passed, throughout that night, because I know for a fact that I felt her Friday, Saturday, and actually that Saturday, before she passed, we was getting everything together, getting her room together. Because like I said, I was so far along in my pregnancy, and I knew that with my son, I had went in at 38 weeks. So we had spent that Saturday getting her room together, putting her clothes up, installing the car seat, all to come the next day, getting news that she was no longer with us. So it was an experience for sure.
Yeah. So how was it leaving the hospital without her?
That was one of the most hardest things I've ever had to do. They took me out the back way. I didn't have to go, through the front. They took me out the back, and I remember coming home, going to her room, and I looked at her crib and I just broke. Because you think that when you come home from the hospital, you're coming home with your hands full. But all I came home with was a broken heart. I remember asking my husband, I wonder how much trouble I'll get in if when we get to the funeral and I take off with her. I wanted my child with me. He was like, you can't do that. And they were all worried for me because so many things went through my mind. Like, I felt like I was going to kidnap my own child. Like, I understand that she's gone, but she's mine. She's coming with me. I don't care what y'all say. I'm taking my baby with me. I remember having to finally turn her over, to the hospital and tell them, okay, here you go. And when they wheeled her out the room, it was just like a cold breeze that came over me. And I just broke. Like, I broke. Because I knew that as they were wheeling my baby out the room, that this was it. The next time I will be seeing her is at her funeral.
Well, how was her funeral? How was planning the funeral? Did you have help from family and friends? Were you able to bury her in something? Were you able to find something that could fit her? How was that process?
So she was a full-term baby. My baby girl was 6 pounds, 4 ounces. So it wasn't hard finding something. I thank God for my mom, because sis was the truth. She stepped in and she handled it all down to, I told her what colors. She knew her theme was Minnie Mouse, because my son's theme was Mickey Mouse. So I did the little play off, Mickey and Minnie. So my mom, she completely handled everything. She found her outfit. She was the one in touch with the funeral directors, and she literally handled it all. As far as Leia's funeral, it was absolutely beautiful. We had a packed house. And when I say packed, I mean pretty much everybody from my community came. And I am so thankful for that. They definitely showed out and showed so much love for my baby girl.
Awesome. So then after this, you went on to have more babies.
I did.
So let's talk about that process, because obviously trying again is one thing, but you get pregnant and to go through a pregnancy after loss can be just as traumatizing as going through the loss itself. So tell us about your experience with your first rainbow baby and your pregnancy after loss journey.
Woo! Pregnancy after loss is a whole nother ball field. I think people look at it like, once you have another child that you're okay. No. When I tell you it was like living my trauma over again, that's exactly what it was. We went on to immediately have another child. I got pregnant 3 months later. So I pretty much have what they call it, stair-step kids. So they're all literally right behind each other, the first 3. But I went to have another baby 3 months later. I got pregnant with another little girl, Lyric Saray. It was hard. It was extremely hard because I kept waiting for the moment to say, I didn't want a baby shower, but my friends insisted that I do one. I regretted, not taking maternity pictures with Leia because I was just like, with my first child, I was, I did the whole thing. We did the maternity pictures and all of that. But getting pregnant 5 months later, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't into none of that. Like, here we go again. Okay. So I regretted it. So when I got pregnant with Lyric, I made sure that we took our maternity pictures. When I first had her, it was extremely hard to connect. It was hard for me to connect because I think I battled why is it that you survived and she did not? So I would be the first to say it took me a minute to truly connect with her. Once she was here, I was thankful, but I did have a lot of emotions that came about it.
Understood. And I think that all folks who have a child after loss always grapple with that. It's something that we struggle with. Lord, why didn't you let us keep this one? But without, the other one, we wouldn't get this blessing. So, but yes, it is a struggle mentally as we consider the other babies. But also the other part of it too, is that what a lot of people don't talk about is even though you have a rainbow baby, the same feelings still come up in your subsequent pregnancies. So can you share with us how you felt after you got, had your rainbow baby Lyric, but then you went on to have more kids, but did the feelings go away?
Nope. I think the more rainbow babies that I had, the worse it got because I was just like, okay, it's just too good to be true. Like it's going to come. And with my second rainbow baby, I remember having a scare with him. I didn't feel him move. I think I was like 6 or 7 months. I didn't feel him move. And I didn't want to freak out. So I was like, well, let me just grab my Doppler. Couldn't find the heartbeat. So now I'm like on 10. Here it goes again. Immediately got to the doctor. My doctor rushed me to the back. I didn't even go to the hospital because the doctor's office was like 5 minutes from my house. And I'm like, I don't care what y'all say. I'm not making no appointment. Somebody about to see me now. So they immediately got me in. Everything was fine. And I remember my husband, and that's another thing we don't talk about is the men. I remember when they found his heartbeat on the ultrasound, my husband just burst out crying. And I'm just like, whew, okay, here we go. With my last rainbow baby, Lennox, I'm actually almost 6 months postpartum. So I have a new baby. He was textbook of his sister. He came 5.5 weeks early. I went in again for decreased movement, got to the hospital. And sure enough, his heart was dropping. My doctor decided it's time to have a baby. He came out just like his sister. She passed because she got wrapped up in her cord. So they labeled it as a nuchal cord. He came out the same way. He came out blue. He was immediately taken to NICU where he stayed for a week on oxygen. So I dealt with those, those feelings. And even after having him, like, what if this would have happened again? My doctor always told me, because I wasn't going to go to the hospital. And the funny thing is, it was a Sunday as well. I went in on a Sunday, like, okay, I'm coming for decreased movement. I don't want to be tripping because a lot of things with these nurses is they try to brush you off like you shouldn't. Every pregnancy is different. I heard that a lot. Every pregnancy is different. But it doesn't take away, the feelings. Like, I've been through it. I hear what you're saying. I know every pregnancy is different, but until you go through it, you're not going to understand how I feel. I don't feel like my child is safe until they're in my arms. And it's hard feeling like your body fails you. So yeah, he came out, just like his sister, but I thank God his story is different. He's here. And I'm just extremely, I'm blessed and I'm thankful.
Perfect. Amen. Yes, you are very blessed. So let's talk about how you have coped through your grief and loss. What tools or tips or books, what things have you used to help you as you navigated through grief?
Honestly, and I'm going to be completely honest, I feel like I put my feelings on the back burner. I did not want to address how I was feeling. I kept having babies, thinking, okay, it'll make it a little easier. It wasn't until my second rainbow baby that I finally had to get help. The first 4 years after losing Leia, I just kind of ignored it. I was focusing on, I just had, I had Lyric. She was born right after her sister. So I didn't really have time to grieve, because during the grieving, I got pregnant, 3 months later, then she's here. So now I'm focusing on, raising this beautiful little girl, having this chance again, still ignoring my feelings, going on with life. Of course, I have my moments that I'm breaking, but still just trying to suppress how I feel. Go on to have my third rainbow baby, and being that, he also came out like his sister, wrapped in his cord, I think that put the icing on the cake, and it triggered me. So in 2018, when my son was born, I lost it. I tried to commit suicide. I was placed in a mental hospital because I couldn't handle the pain anymore of it all. It was too much for me to bear. It wasn't until I could hear my kids on the other line when I was talking to my husband, and they were saying, well, when is mommy coming home? And in that moment, I realized I'm not living for just me. My kids need me. I want to be with Leia, and I'm trying to get there to her. But on the flip side, I have kids here on this earth that I have to keep fighting for and keep going for. So once I heard that, something kind of clicked, and I was just like, yeah, you got to get help. So I got in therapy. I started, talking to other angel moms in the community, and here we are in 2022, and I feel like I'm putting the pieces back together.
That's amazing. Such amazing. So happy that you got the help that you needed, but now you're helping others. So let's talk about you transitioning, from obviously still doing all the other roles, wife, mom, doing the things that you do, but adding on this role of a doula. So let's talk about what made you decide to become a doula, and what do you hope to do with your doula business?
So deciding to become a doula was off of Leia. I wanted to be the person that I needed through my loss. I'm actually also in school to become a social worker. And I want to take that business and work in the medical field, because a lot of times these nurses, these doctors, they're not equipped with loss, dealing with loss and helping you through it. And I know that firsthand, because when I went through it, I didn't get help. I was told, here's some depression medicine that I think you should try. And that was it. And there's no tact. I don't believe that the first thing you need to tell a mom after she hears the words, there's no heartbeat. I don't feel like the first thing you need to be asking is, well, what do you want to do with the baby? Or, those type of things. So I feel that being that I have gone through it, I know how to help another mom through those feelings. And even, with losing my daughter, I feel that if I was educated the way that I should have been, I would have advocated for myself not to be released from that hospital. because there's no way that a nurse can say, well, she's not as reactive as she needs to be, but you're 9 months pregnant, so it's normal. Everybody don't have a textbook pregnancy. So I feel that we owe it to each other to educate one another, So I feel if I just save one life, my job is well done. My friend, she actually got pregnant after me. And I remember she went to the hospital and she was like, well, every time I have contractions, her heart rate drops. And I'm like, okay. They sent her home. So she goes home. She ended up going back, I want to say like the next day. The same thing was happening. I'm like, girl, no, don't let them send you home. I don't care what they say. There's no reason that the baby heart rate should be dropping. So do not allow them to send you home. Advocate for yourself. And sure enough, she explained, well, my best friend lost her baby. Not comfortable with going home. Whoop-de-whoop. And they end up keeping her and taking her back, for a C-section. And guess what? Her daughter was born with the cord around her neck. So she always thanks me, for pushing her to advocate for herself. And I just feel like that's what we have to do, because to them, you do have good doctors out there, because I'm very appreciative of the doctor that I had with my rainbow babies. But, let's keep it honest. A lot of these doctors, it's a job to them. Once they deliver you, they go home and here you are, your life is upside down, So yeah, that is why I decided to become a doula, because I feel like there's not enough education around things that can happen. Doctors, it's more of a 5-10 minute session with you when you come to your appointment and they're on their way. So I don't feel like, they take time to truly educate you. So that is the reason that I became a doula, to help your birth outcome.
Absolutely. And I absolutely love that you are doula and your friend. I think those are the ones that I love the most, to be a doula, unofficial doula for our friends. Yeah. I had two of my friends were pregnant at the same time. So I always joke. Yeah, it's fun during the pandemic too. So it was fun to doula them from afar, even though I weren't their doula directly. But yeah, such an amazing thing. Obviously, I have such a passion for doulas as well. And I always say that my birth story, no similar than yours, inspired me to the work, right? It's the reason why I do. It's the reason why I doula. It's because of my birth story and the two losses I experienced in my traumatic birth with my son. So I would love to end on a high note. Like, what encouraging words can you leave with the listeners, the moms, the parents, those who have journeyed and traveled this journey through loss, through stillbirth, trying to conceive, having rainbow babies, navigating COVID, being Black in America. Look, we're going to put it all together. All of it. Right? We're going to put it all together. Just what encouraging words can you leave with our listeners as we're just going through it, right? And we are all navigating through, just trying to do the best we can.
The funny thing is my name, Sky's the limit. Leia's name is Leia Sky. It fits so perfectly because she's an angel. And I came up with the name because the sky is the limit. It's hard. It's not easy. The journey will not be easy. There's going to be times that you're going to break. There's going to be times that you can't get out the bed, and that's okay. It's okay to not always be okay. It's okay to not always be Superwoman. But guess what? You can do it, because the sky is the limit. There's no limit to what you can do. You just got to keep going. It's okay to take a pause, to allow yourself to feel, but keep going. Don't stop there.
Love it. Love it. So where can we connect with you after this episode?
Okay, so I am on Instagram and the name is sky'sthelimit.bs. Skies is SKYES. The limit THELIMIT.BS. And that stands for birth services.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing your story. This has been a pleasure. And I hope that everyone follows her on Instagram. And if you are in Metro Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Definitely contact her for doula services.
Yes. You will birth the way that you want.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. I truly appreciate you for having me. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. For show notes, go to sistersinloss.com. To stay connected with us and join the Sisters in Loss community and receive my weekly newsletter, please go to sistersinloss.com/newsletter. That is sistersinloss.com/newsletter. Please rate and review this episode, and I will talk to you next week.